Hey guys, welcome back to my second video summary of Story of My Life by Helen Keller. This is an autobiography, and in this video summary I will be telling you what all incidents happened in this chapter, which is number 2, and I will give you a minimum of 5 points for each incident. Let's get on with this. There are 6 incidents: learning to communicate, Helen at the age of 5, Helen's companions, Helen's adventures, Helen's interaction with her family, Nancy and Mildred. Learning to communicate. Helen observed and felt each and every object after her illness. Soon she learnt about many things. She started shaking her head to say no and nodding to say yes. She would push to say go and pull to say come. If she wanted bread, then she would imitate the act of slicing bread and spreading the butter. She would go and shiver near the fridge if she wanted her mother to make ice cream for dinner. Her mother succeeded in making Helen understand a great deal of things. Helen always knew when her mother wanted her to go upstairs to fetch something or run an errand. This is the first incident. Let's move on to the next incident. Helen at the age of 5. When Helen was 5, she learned to fold her clothes and she could instinctively differentiate between her clothes and the others. She started sensing when her aunt and mother were going out and started waving to guests. Shutting the door meant the arrival of guests. Many times Helen would stand in front of the mirror and pour oil on her head and thickly cover her face with powder. She also learned to dress for formal company. She noticed that she she was different from other people, as they did not use signs to communicate. They used their mouths. Sometimes she touched the mouths of people who spoke and tried to do it herself. My goodness. Okay. Sometimes she touched the mouths of people who spoke and tried to do it herself. Being unsuccessful made her very angry, so she kicked and exhausted herself. Helen vaguely sensed that she was naughty and felt guilty at times. Let's move on to the next incident. Helen's companions. Helen had the constant companionship of Martha Washington and her dog Belle, who used to be a hunter. They understood Helen's needs completely. It gave Helen great pleasure to dominate them. She was active, strong, and indifferent, and usually had her way. Both her companions helped her. She was most happy kneading dough balls, making ice cream, grinding coffee, and feeding the hens and the turkeys. Helen's adventure. Helen's greatest pleasure was going hunting for eggs in the long grass. She would gesture to Martha to hold the eggs carefully. She was also delighted to be near cows when they were being milked. Helen was especially delighted for Christmas celebrations. Oh God. Okay. She would smell the baking of Christmas cake and would help in her own way. Helen would hang stockings for gifts just like the others. Helen had memories of doing naughty tricks with Martha, and once Martha cut off Helen's curls. She also remembered playing with Belle, her dog, who was extremely lazy and loved to sleep near the hearth. Open fireplace. It means open fireplace. Helen had spilled water on an apron once, and in an attempt to dry it over the fire, she got burnt. Helen learned new things every day and became more and more naughty. One day she locked her mother in the pantry and refused to let her out. Let's move on to the next incident. Helen's interaction with her family. Helen's family moved from the little vine-covered house to a large one. Now her family comprised of her father, mother, 2 older half-brothers, and a younger sister named Mildred. Helen imitated her father's action of reading the newspaper and wearing spectacles. It was later when she understood what was on the paper. Her father was a great hunter and a celebrated shot. He was proud of the big garden, and he brought Helen the first ripe grapes and the choicest berries. He would also lead Helen tree to tree, caressing the fruits. He also told Helen anecdotes and stories by spelling into her hand. Her father's death was her first experience of death. Helen was most attached and devoted to her mother and felt no words could describe their bond. Helen initially hated Mildred and was jealous of her mother's attention towards her. Moving on to the next incident. Helen was most attached to a doll which she had named Nancy. She had better looking dolls, but she was obsessed with Nancy. She used to spend a lot of time putting Nancy to sleep in the cradle. Once she overturned Mildred, who was sleeping in the cradle at that time. She was selfish and could not understand care or love for anyone. Later, when she grew up, she learned to love Mildred and hold her hand, even though she could not understand her childish words, and Mildred could not understand her side. Thank you for watching a video. So, if you want to show your support, please like the video, and if you have anything to say about it, please comment. Once again, thank you for watching, and be back for the next chapter summary.